So imagine this. You're deep into a gorgeous hike. Your water bottle's nearly empty, and then you see it. A beautiful, crystal clear stream. But can you actually drink it? Well, today we're going to figure that out. We're breaking down everything you need to know to pick the absolute perfect filtered water bottle for your next trip.
You know, it's the classic backpacker's problem, right? You desperately need water, but carrying enough for a multi-day trip feels like you're lugging a boulder around. And that's exactly why a good filtered water bottle isn't just a nice-to-have piece of gear, it's a total lifeline.
Okay, so here's our plan for this explainer. First, we'll dive into that core challenge every hiker has to deal with. Then, we're going to get a little nerdy with the actual technology behind these filters. After that, we'll introduce our 3 top contenders, stack them up, and by the time we're done, you'll know exactly which bottles should be in your pack.
All right, let's just get right to the heart of it. Everything, and I mean everything, comes down to this one question. How do you stay hydrated out there without your pack weighing a ton? On the trail, every single ounce counts. So finding that sweet spot between safety and weight, well, that's the whole game. Now, before we start throwing around a bunch of brand names, we need to pop the hood and really understand what makes these things work. Because on the surface, they all promise clean water, right? But the real magic is in the details. And honestly, those details can be the difference between an amazing hike and, well, a really, really bad time. Okay, this is probably the single most important thing to understand. The difference between a filter and a purifier. A filter is your go-to for most hikes in North America. It's awesome at knocking out the common bad guys like bacteria and protozoa. But a purifier, think of it like bringing in the heavy artillery. It gets rid of all that stuff, plus those teeny-tiny viruses that can be a real issue if you're traveling internationally or in super high-use areas. So once you've decided between a filter and a purifier, these are the 4 big questions you gotta ask. How fast can I actually drink from this thing? How long is it gonna last? How much is it gonna weigh me down? And maybe most importantly, how big of a pain is it to clean? The answers are gonna point you straight to your perfect match. Okay, theory time is over. Let's get to the good stuff and meet 3 of the best-selling, most loved bottles out there. You'll see each one is really built for a totally different kind of adventurer. First up, the Grail GeoPress. You can think of this thing as your own personal water bodyguard. It is a full-on purifier, built for total protection no matter where you are in the world, from the Sierras to Southeast Asia. And this chart really tells the whole story. You get this incredible power, it purifies water in just 8 seconds, but it definitely comes with a trade-off. At nearly a pound, this is by far the heavyweight champ in our lineup. But you know what? For a lot of people, that extra weight is a price they're happy to pay. That absolute peace of mind, knowing you are protected from pretty much anything lurking in the water, that's why the GeoPress is such a favorite for world travelers and serious adventurers. All right, now let's swing to the complete opposite end of the spectrum and talk about the Katadyn Be-Free. This thing is an absolute legend in the ultralight hiking community, and for very good reason. Just look at that weight. At only 2.3 ounces, it's a feather compared to the Grail. Now, it is a filter, not a purifier, but its whole design is brilliant. It's a soft flask, so when it's empty, it just collapses down and basically vanishes in your pack. And here's the real magic of the Be-Free. The thing you hear over and over again from users is the flow rate. It's incredible. You don't have to suck like you're trying to pull a golf ball through a garden hose. You just drink. It's a huge, huge advantage when you're tired and just want to hydrate quickly. And last but not least, we have the icon, the Sawyer Squeeze. Seriously, if you've ever looked into long-distance hiking on trails like the Appalachian Trail or the PCT, you have seen this filter. It is an absolute legend, and it's all about reliability and versatility. And here's why it's a legend. The weight is great, the flow rate is solid, but look at that lifespan. 100,000 gallons. No, that is not a typo. You buy this thing once, and you basically have a filter for life. It is the definition of a long-term investment. But here's a crucial piece of trail wisdom you'll hear from pretty much every thru-hiker. The filter itself, almost indestructible. The plastic pouches that come with it, not so much. So the pro move is to toss the bag it comes with and screw the filter onto a disposable smart water bottle. It's a perfect fit and way more durable. Okay, so we've met our contenders. Now let's put them head-to-head in a couple of charts so you can really visualize the choices that you're making here. I mean, this chart says it all, doesn't it? It's the cost of total protection in ounces. On one side, you have the Grail GeoPress, or purifier, coming in at almost a pound. And on the other, the featherlight Katadyn Be-Free that you'll barely even notice. This is that core trade-off. Ultimate peace of mind versus a much lighter pack.
And now for speed. Because when you're gasping for air after a big climb, the last thing you want is a filter that fights back. As you can see, these squeeze-style filters like the Katadyn and Sawyer are awesome. You can easily down a liter of clean, safe water in way under a minute.
So, we've covered the tech, we've met the top models, we've looked at the trade-offs. Where does that leave us? How do you make that final call?
At the end of the day, there's no single best bottle. There's only the best bottle for your trip. So let's make it super simple. If you're traveling internationally or in an area where viruses could be a concern, the Grail Purifier is your best bet, period. If you're a weekend warrior or an ultralight hiker counting every single gram, the Katadyn Be-Free is your ghost. And if you're planning a massive thru hike and want something that will literally last a lifetime, the Sawyer Squeeze is your legend. Now, these were just 3 of our favorites, but we actually analyzed 7 of the top bottles on the market, including others like the Epic Nalgene and the LifeStraw Go. To see the full trail-tested reviews for all of them, and to get direct links to buy, just click the link right there in the description below.